everybody. Hello, welcome. It's Monday, and thank you so much, Charlie. Thank you for being here. Hello, Rowena. Happy Tuesday to you. It is almost noon for you, so I hope you're having a wonderful morning and that you get to relax and have a good time now. And hello, Stacy. Welcome. So happy that you're here. Welcome to everybody watching on YouTube. And if you are catching this on the replay, thank you for being here. We are so thankful that you're here. So, it's Moon Day! First Monday of October. Is it spooky season? There's no need to be afraid. I also have a special guest for the new moon of October 24th. So that makes me really excited too. I'll use this opportunity to announce this really quick. The hostess of the Dark Side of Light Work podcast. I'm so glad I said that right because I've had to practice it. I would switch them all the time. So, the hostess of the Dark Side of Light Work podcast is going to be joining us for the new moon episode. She is also in other apps where we get to connect. Her voice is sultry and so sweet, and I just cannot wait to introduce you all to Wynn Thornley and to hear from her during our new moon. So that's going to be packed, and it was just such a beautiful moment to get to really talk about keeping things in balance, keeping things in check. We are still on Libra season, I think until October 22nd. So it's going to be a long month trying to balance it all, juggle it all together. Can you really strike a balance between what you want to do, what you need to do, what you should be doing, and what you have to do? Those are 4 different things. Can you do it all? Probably not. So some choices need to happen. And so it's Moon Day. It's the beginning of the week. What are we looking forward to create? And so many things going on. The topic of the week, which was brought to my attention by one of the members of our Empaths Unite community. All of the links are in the fortune cookie, so check that out so you can join me on everything, is reparenting. And why is reparenting important? What is it? What is reparenting? Well, let me tell you, in the easiest ways to describe without getting into the mumbo jumbo up at all, reparenting is about giving yourself what you didn't receive as a child. And the thing is that, emotional intelligence as a topic, as an idea, did not become a thing until 1990. So what that means is that for most of us, our parents, were ill-equipped. They had no means. It wasn't in their awareness to address some things like emotional intelligence when they were raising their children. All of that to say that you diving into reparenting yourself doesn't mean you're accusing your parents of anything, right? There's no need to get to the blame game when it comes to watching where you are now and strategizing how you're going to move forward. It's really just about how do you want your life to be in the future? And what kind of experience do you want to have? And that has very little to do with the way it was before with your parents. So I want to throw that out there as just permission to explore, the topic in itself, because I know a lot of people who are very in tune with the need to reparent themselves. And I also know that it's the type of topic in the wellness industry that kind of has a little bit of stigma to it because of guilt. And what do you know? Guilt coming out of nowhere is part of that, reparenting aspect that needs to be taken care of. So we're talking about that this week in the blog. You can also see it in the link in my bio, in the link in the fortune cookie. And we're going to talk about it this Friday on Twitter Spaces, where I host a 2-hour conversation, sometimes with 30 speakers, every Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. And the reason why I'm bringing this to the collective is because as highly sensitive people, we grew up in an environment where we really couldn't be ourselves. You're too loud. You're too obnoxious. You're too different. Where did you come from? So on and so forth. Those are some of the phrases I grew up listening to, right? And so what that creates is a disconnect between who I really am on the inside and who I need to be in order to get acceptance. A huge disconnect there. That sounds like a complete imbalance of energy, right? Talk about Libra season and connecting all those dots together. And when I am not myself and I grow up with the awareness or with the dynamic of having to be someone else or do something else in order to gain acceptance and love, that translates as the adult who people pleases, or the adult who is constantly seeking validation from others in order to achieve or to create or to do anything. And you may not be seeking validation from social media as a whole, right? Like content creators, we put our content out there and we, it's a byproduct to get that reply, to get the like or the share or the question or the answer or the booking call or whatnot, something, reciprocating from what we put out there. So that's a certain search for validation. But maybe you're just texting a friend. Oh, what do you think about this? You may be sending your friend a picture of an outfit and saying, what do you think about this outfit for the party that we have in the office coming up? So are you constantly doing some of these things? This may be a red flag in terms of your inner child needing that healing, needing that reparenting, permission to wear whatever you want. It's really about having the confidence to be yourself. Permission to cry if you need to release, permission to take a moment and be quiet if silence is what you need, without having someone constantly nagging you like, what happened? What's going on? What's wrong? What did I do wrong? Why are you moody? And it's like, I'm not. I just need a moment. Knowing what you need. That's another thing that comes with reparenting. Being able to target, label, and address your needs, because some of us didn't have our needs met when we were children. And I'm talking about emotional needs. I'm not talking about a roof over our heads and food on the table, so on and so forth. I'm talking about emotional intelligence here. That's what that has to do, what reparenting has to do with. And the thing about reparenting yourself is that another disconnect I see a lot, hello Mel, welcome. Another disconnect with reparenting yourself that I see is, oh, I don't need to do that because I don't have any children. Or I don't need to reparent myself because I'm not planning on having any children. And so I get it, because a huge factor in us trying to work hard at reparenting ourselves definitely has to do with providing a better experience for our child. But at the same time, I want to reparent myself just to have a good life all by myself, for me. I want to be able to name my needs and address them. I want to be able to walk into a room and be myself. I want to be able to have an authentic experience. Me teaching my child all of these things is just a byproduct because I already have a child. But if you don't have children, reparenting still applies to you, because it's about you and the experience you want to have. So what is that? Think about that this week. Think about how many times in a week do you reach out to someone with a question seeking validation? What do y'all think of this? What do y'all think of that? I posted it on Instagram this morning. If what you're doing is aligned with your values, that's step number 1. If you look at what you're doing and you're happy with it, pleased with it, proud of it, that's all you need. Put it out there. Do what you're going to do with it. And when it comes to couples, I feel like there's a double-edged sword there, because even though my husband supports me, I'm still seeking validation for him, as someone who has survived this and this and that. It's like I don't want to need that validation. I want to be able to look at myself in the mirror and already know that my outfit is cute. And if he doesn't point it out, then I want to be able to be okay and not seek that validation. Oh, you didn't tell me I look pretty today. What? So if you're listening and you're married, how many times do you do this? And men do this too. I know very well that men do this too. What do you think about my outfit? How does this look? What do you think about this new hat? Right? And so it's about, if you were alone in the world, can you meet your emotional needs all by yourself? Not love, I get it. Not company, I understand. I'm talking about, the need to just be, the space to just be. Can you be all by yourself? All by yourself. Or do you get antsy for company and someone else listening and someone else relating to you? And so some of these things are really attached to our childhood wounds, I should say, right? And we're learning about this week, and I'm super excited. It's going to be a very interesting week discussing this topic with some of the members of my community, my clients, and then closing it all up with a big bow on Friday on our Twitter Spaces community space, where we will talk about it for 2 hours. Yay! Now, how are you? And what are you doing this week? What are you looking forward to create? There's so much going on. I am looking forward to, let's see, what am I looking forward to? I'm looking forward to tomorrow's episode of Laughter After Trauma here on Fireside. The reason why I am excited about Deanna's show tomorrow is because October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And the thing about domestic violence that I'm very interested in bringing awareness to is that it's not just between spouses. And I feel like collectively, we tend to disregard the spectrum of violence as a whole, because we think about domestic violence as a black eye and, tragedy. But domestic violence involves a lot of other ways of violence, which include, verbal abuse, mental abuse, child neglect, animal abuse. Whatever happens in your home, in your domestic environment, right, that you may consider violent, then it falls under the spectrum of domestic violence, and we don't see it that way as a whole. This is a very important topic to bring awareness to kind of remove the veil from people's eyes so that they can just seek what they need, ask for what they want, demand respect. And I feel like reparenting yourself is a huge aspect of this. This is all mingled together. It's all one big umbrella of wellness and mental health and happiness and authentic expression. It's like all one big umbrella of hashtag living your best life. That's what this is. And so the aspect of not being or growing up in a home where emotional intelligence was a thing is that when you become an adult, you have no emotional intelligence. Well, that should be your first indication that you need to relearn some things or learn them to begin with, right? Well, that's the reparenting. If you're spending your time trying to learn something because you feel a disconnect between what you grew up believing and now you're just I think I'm just going to dive a little deeper into this because what I learned doesn't really resonate, but now I want to learn about it. You're reparenting yourself. So that's great. That's great that you're doing it. And then next week is already our full moon episode, and it's going to happen on Monday. Thank you. It's going to happen on Monday, as well as the weekly show, because the full moon is on Sunday. Yay to the full moon! Which means, thank you, which means we're going to talk about it, we're going to do the journaling, and we're going to paint together live. All of that along with the meditation. I know. And last new moon, we were able to do it all under 1 hour. So look at us. Being able to have a conversation, answer the questions, journal and paint together, and do the meditation all under 1 hour. I felt so proud. I was like, wow, we're really getting a roll with this. And that just makes me so happy and excited to share in this experience with you. So with that said, take a moment to ponder the questions that I asked in the beginning. Take a moment to really evaluate. We're still in Libra season, so how are you balancing it all so that you don't lose your mind? How are you balancing the scale between the face you show up to the world and who you are on the inside? That was the biggest question last week, and I feel like if you're a content creator, you need to straddle that line constantly. Right? So someone like me, for example, and I feel so proud when I hear coaches say this. Someone like me as a wellness coach, I need to practice what I preach. I cannot be there on Instagram telling you to journal if I don't sit down to journal every day. I would feel like such a fraud, right? So that's a balance. That's me keeping a balance between the face I show up to the world, me telling you to journal every day on a reel, and who I am at my core. Thank you. Who I am at my core. I owe it to you. I owe it to me to do what I say I'm going to do. Right? And not just that, but I really only share tools that I have used and that I don't want to say proven tools because nothing is proven. It was proven to me because it worked for me, but it may not work for you. So, I share what I have used that has worked for me in the past, and you may try it. And if it doesn't work, that's the beauty of experimenting. You can just put it aside and try something else. What will work? Ooh, here's another one. Oh my gosh, we're not done. Yay, I remembered. Curiosity is huge in the reparenting topic. And I'm going to tell you why. And if you have children, this might strike a nerve, but I want to tell you it's okay. It's never too late to rectify some of the patterns that you may already have as a parent. But listen carefully. When it comes to wellness and when it comes to getting coached, you're going to hear a lot of people on social media telling you to get curious, telling you to ask questions, right? However, when children are about 4 or 5 or 6 or maybe well into teenage years, they ask a lot of questions. How long till we get there? Why is this happening? But why is it like that? But why can't I go? Where did I come from? Whatever questions. What's for dinner? Is dinner ready? When are we leaving? Where are we going? So many questions, right? And when a parent finds it not inappropriate, what's the word? Inconvenient to answer those questions, one right after the other, right after the other, right after the other, which I get it. It can be annoying. I understand. But essentially, when you tell your child to stop asking questions, you're telling your child they shouldn't be asking questions. They may internalize it that way to the point that they never ask another question again. And so the child that learns that asking questions elicits an unpleasant reaction from someone they love and look up to transforms or grows into the adult who never asks questions. who never gets curious. The adult, that the concept of curiosity just escapes them. Well, in order to rectify your experience and really live your best life, you need to get curious about what resonates and what doesn't. And this reaction to this one thing, what does it say about my experience right now? That's another question. And this person coming into my, conversation, making me feel a certain way, what does that mean to me? This fear that I feel about creating this content or putting this out there or making this phone call, who hates making phone calls? I completely get it, right? This fear that I feel, what is it telling me that I need to work on? But we may not feel like it's okay to ask questions, and we may not even realize that we feel a certain way about asking questions. Well, that's a reparenting thing. Permission to get curious, permission to ask questions, permission to do whatever it takes for you to be able to do what you want to do. I know that's confusing, but you may listen to it again. In fact, I'll repeat it. Permission to do whatever it takes for you to be able to do what you want to do. What do you want to do? It's your life. You're the adult now, right? And so it's very important. It's going to be a very interesting week talking about this with everyone in my sphere, because I feel like it's an important season to realize it. We're entering the last quarter of the year. People are going to start thinking about what they want to do next year. Who do they want to be? What are your goals for next year? I'm already seeing it all over social media. We're going to do it as it pertains to Fireside and our show experience, right? And we launched on August 8th. So let's see where it takes us next year on August 8th. What's the growth? What's the collective mindset then, right? And then, of course, I love Christmas, so I always, think about the new year, and I feel like my birthday is also a huge marker for a new year of growth, right? It's like so many opportunities to start over. If you didn't do it on the new year, you get to do it again on your birthday or whenever. You know what? Deepak Chopra says that every single dawn is like a birth, and every single time you go to sleep is like a death. So that means that every single day you have a chance to turn it all around and to do it differently and to live a totally different life. But if you don't get curious because you think that asking questions is going to just get you in trouble, and you may not know to articulate it in that sense, but the energy of resistance kind of comes with you feeling like you can't ask questions. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, really. And really has been kind enough to invite me as a guest on his show, and I can't wait for that to happen. So thank you for that, really. And I also want to thank you live for sharing my content on Facebook, because I saw your picture and I saw your name, and I didn't make the connection that it was you until like 2 days later, and I was like, oh, it's really, oh, yay, thank you. So thank you for that. I appreciate it more than you know, really and honestly. Every comment, every question that you ask, thank you so much. Melem is also someone else who is always commenting, and I just appreciate it so much. All of these things help us content creators. So thank you again. Thank you for being here. It's already a beautiful week because we get to have this conversation together and we get to connect and just have a moment. That's really what this is about, to have a moment. So with that said, get comfortable and have a moment. Take a breather. Permission to breathe, permission to pause, permission to rest if you need to rest. So let's go ahead and get comfortable, and both feet on the ground. Take a deep breath. We're going to go ahead and open Brain FM. And if you're listening and you would like to try Brain FM, there's a link in my bio for a free trial and 20% discount on your membership. Let's go into the garden. So both feet on the ground, just breathe nice and slow. Focus on your slow breathing. Unclench your jaw. If your tongue is pressed against the roof of your mouth, lower it. Let's do everything we can to send a message to the brain that we are safe and at peace in this moment. And with me, you're going to take a deep breath in, nice and slow. Deep, 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 all the way. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let it go, nice and slow. All the way till there's no air. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathe in again. Nice and slow, deep breath in, all the way. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, and let it go. Nice and slow. And we are going to imagine that we are sitting outside on the grass in the crisp, perfect autumn air that we have all been looking forward to. That perfect temperature that it's kind of chilly but not really. And the grass is touching your legs as you're sitting down. And you are just there, eyes closed, taking this moment and pondering, imagining that your heart is a little child. And as you breathe nice and slow, nowhere to go, nothing to do, this little child dances and jumps around. And because you're trying to be still, your initial urge is to nudge it to stop. But we're not doing that right now. You take it deep and you just smile and observe. Dancing and jumping around. Observe with an open mind, with acceptance. With me, you're going to take a deep breath in. Deep, 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 nice and slow. Fill those lungs. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let it go. Nice and slow. Nice and slow. All the way till you have no air. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe in again. Nice and slow, deep breath in all the way. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, and let it go. Let it go as you sit on the grass. And this inner child is crying and screaming. And as you sit there, your initial urge is to say, stop. No need to cry. You're being dramatic. But we're not doing that today. We are observing with acceptance and with permission to just be. Because it is okay to cry. It is okay to express feelings of frustration and pain. It is more than okay to release. And allowing this little child to cry it out finishes the tantrum sooner than if you tried to control it. Permission to just be. Bring your awareness to your hand and your hand on your heart, right where that inner child is. And just think to yourself, I love you so much. You are safe here, now. And I am so excited for the journey ahead together. With me, take a deep breath in, nice and slow. Just deep breath in. Fill those lungs all the way, all the way, all the way. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, and let it go. Nice and slow all the way till you have no air. All the way. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathe in again. Nice and slow, just breathe it in all the way. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, and let it go. Nice and slow. And with this exhale, as you're sitting on the grass, you see this inner child and just embrace them. Hold them so tight and hold them so close and let them know it will all be okay, because it will be. Bring your awareness to your hands and open your eyes and come back to me. Yay. So happy and thankful that you're here. Thank you, Hakeem, for being here. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much. And music for this meditation was brought to you by Brain FM. And the link is in the fortune cookie. If you would like to book a call with me, it's in the fortune cookie. If you would like to join the Hope Enthusiast Club weekly newsletter and get the announcement of the weekly agenda with all of the links that I described, join in the fortune cookie. And if this was helpful and you would like to buy me a tea, that's the first link in the fortune cookie. So thank you all for being here. I love you so much for coming. I appreciate your presence and your replays and your shares. And tomorrow, tune in at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Laughter After Trauma here on Fireside. I will be Deanna's guest, and we will be talking about domestic violence awareness. So it will be wonderful. Thank you again, everybody. I love you. Bye, everybody.